Hi, I'm Brandon Grant, Marketing Director here at QuoteWerks. In this video, we're going to talk about and demonstrate how QuoteWerks Web integrates with MS CRM Dynamics. Before we get started, there's a couple of key notes and features we want to discuss. First, QuoteWerks Web is an add-on to QuoteWerks Desktop. This means it will use your existing licensing and features you already have, such as Real-Time, Utilize, and QuoteValet. Additionally, it means that you are able to utilize your existing system settings, security rights, templates, and layouts without having to recreate these for web users. QuoteWerks Web is also only $10 per user per month. And since it is an add-on, this means you do not have to repurchase a completely new system to take advantage of QuoteWerks Web. Additionally, no one will be forced into using it. If you only want or need a couple of your reps to use it, you can simply buy the number of licenses that you need just for them. Another one of the key features of QuoteWerks Web is the utilization of your existing data. This means no complicated importing and exporting and no constant syncing required. QuoteWerks Web will tie in directly to your existing QuoteWerks database and will let you not only edit existing documents, but create new ones that are also available immediately in QuoteWerks Desktop. To host your QuoteWerks databases, we are offering a database hosting service, or you can do it yourself through one of the third-party providers such as Amazon or Azure. We can provide setup instructions if you decide to host the databases yourself as well. And finally, QuoteWerks Web includes the MS CRM Dynamics integration at no additional charge. This means you can take advantage of the existing features such as contact support and opportunity support, among others. So let's get started. So we'll begin by logging into QuoteWerks Web. Open up your web browser and type in na.quoteworks.com. This will bring you to the QuoteWerks Web login page. Here you'll need to enter your tenant account number, which should be provided to you from QuoteWerks, your QuoteWerks username, and your QuoteWerks password. Once you've entered that information into QuoteWerks Web, simply click Login to log in. Once you're logged into QuoteWerks Web, you have a couple options for getting started. The first one is to click on the New button here, and this will just create a new blank quote for you to begin adding products, your contacts, all the normal QuoteWerks functions. The other option is to click on the Open window here, and you can select from an existing document in QuoteWerks that you can pull from, or if you click on the Open button itself instead of the drop-down, you can search for a particular document to open and start editing that particular document. For our example, we're just going to click on the drop-down menu here and click on New Quote, and we're going to start with a brand new quote. We want to give the quote a name, so for example, we'll just call it our MS CRM Web Intro, and then click Create. And this will create our brand new blank document in QuoteWerks Web. You'll see at the top it has our document name and our document number, and then the rest of the interface is going to look very familiar for most of you that have used QuoteWerks in the past. On the left-hand side is where you'll see the biggest difference. This is where we have our navigation panel. The workbook will be your tabs that you typically have, so the quote workbook, which also includes the toolbar shortcuts and your file, edit, products, and contacts menu options. On the navigation panel, you can also click on the documents, where you can search for a previously created document, whether it's been in QuoteWerks Web or QuoteWerks Desktop. You'll have access to both here. The products option will display your product lists in QuoteWerks, as well as give you access to search for items from Utilize if you are using Utilize. Contacts will let you search for contacts from, in this example, MS CRM, and then QuoteValet Insight will let you view your reporting information in QuoteValet Insight. So let's go ahead and go back to our workbook and then click on the Sold to, Shipped to tab. So just like in QuoteWerks Desktop, you can easily search for a contact or an account to pull into QuoteWerks from MS CRM Dynamics by clicking on the magnifying glass here. This will bring you to the contacts window, and then you can search by account name, phone, first name, last name, full name, however you want to search for that particular contact or account. And you can do that by typing in the account information here, so I'll just use Aspire. And then I can either click Enter on my keyboard or just click on the magnifying glass, and this will display the search results. Once you have located the contact that you want to pull into your document, simply highlight them, and then down at the bottom left, use the Sold to, Shipped to, or Billed to pull this contact into one of these three particular fields. Or if you want to populate the contact across all three fields, simply choose all, and you'll see a confirmation in the bottom right corner that the contact was added to the document. If we click back to the workbook, you'll see on the Sold to Ship to tab, you can confirm that the contact has been added to the document. So now that we have our contact in our document, we can begin building our quotes. We're going to click back over to the document items window here, and we'll right click and we'll choose Insert Section Header. Section header is just an easy way to organize the document. You can call them whatever you like. In this example, we're just going to do a pretty generic one. So we'll do one for products and then click OK. And let's go ahead and insert one more and do one for services, and we'll do one more for optional items. And then we have this extra line here, so if we highlight it and right click, you'll see you also have the option to delete it. And let's go ahead and remove that extra line there. All right, now that we have our section headers on our document, we can begin adding products and services. So just like in QuoteWerks Desktop, you can click on the products toolbar icon to view your product databases to search for items. In QuoteWerks Web, you do have a shortcut over on the navigation panel as well, so you can quickly get to the products window also. When you click on the products window, you'll default to the product database list, so you can see a list of all your databases that you've set up in QuoteWerks that are available in QuoteWerks Web. If you're using Eatalize, you'll also see there's an option to click on the Eatalize. We'll go ahead and we'll start with Eatalize first, because there are a few changes in the interface I wanted to discuss before we move forward with adding these items to the document. So the first one is going to be searching for a particular item. The Eatalize search is going to work like it typically does, so you can search by manufacturer part number, keyword, vendor part number, pretty much any way you want to look for an item you can. So if we want to do something kind of generic, so we'll do our trip light switch here and click enter. This will search Eatalize for this particular item, and it'll show us the first 50 results. If you wanted to narrow those results to specific items, you can use the Eatalize filtering by categories, manufacturers, and also features and attributes, so you can really drill down to a specific item that you're looking for. Once you've located your item, if you click on the item, QuoteWerks will actually go out and retrieve the real-time pricing and availability for the distributors that you've set up in QuoteWerks. From our example, we have 4 set up, so we're set up with D&H, Cenex, Ingram Micro, and Tech Data. And if you hover over the availability option here, you can actually see which warehouses for that particular vendor have that item in stock. So I can actually see Tech Data has 3 in Fort Worth, and then also you can purchase it vendor direct, so they'll basically drop ship it. Cenex, they have it available as drop shipping, and D&H has 8 available as well. We'll also highlight in green the best cost, so if I wanted to source it from Tech Data, I can do that just by clicking select add, and this will add that item to my document. I'll even get a confirmation message at the bottom right corner that that item has been added to my quote. Additionally, you'll have access to the accessories, similar items, and upsell items tabs, so you can pull items from those additional tabs if you wanted. And then the Eatalize integration also comes with some new features here at the top. You'll see when you have an item selected, you can use the quick add, which will just add the item directly to your document, but it won't pull from a specific vendor or give you the real-time pricing and availability. So that's really useful if you're building your document and you already have pricing for specific items, just need to quickly add them to the document. You're going to manually change the pricing. You can do that. There's also the workspace option. When you add an item to the workspace, you'll see when I click it here, it shows that it's highlighted. And if we click on, we'll click on these next 2 here. We now have 3 items added to our workspace, and then our workspace tab to the left has 3 items on there. The workspace is a great temporary holding place for these items. This makes it really easy if you are going to be doing multiple quotes. Maybe you're quoting a lot of the same items. Instead of having to research for the items each time you're quoting them, you can kind of put them in this temporary space so that you don't have to look for them each time. Get the pricing availability, add them to your quote, and then move on to the next quote. And basically anything you add to the workspace will stay in your workspace until you log out of QuoteWerks Web. So it's a great kind of like temporary holding place. Next to the workspace is the compare. This will allow you to compare the items just like in QuoteWerks Desktop on the Eatalize window. So you can actually compare those items, and we'll show you what that looks like here in just a moment. And then your favorites, if you want to add an item to your favorites tab, you can do that. The favorites is different from the workspace because the favorites is going to save the item permanently. So that's way it's always going to be available there, where the workspace is just temporary. So it's a nice little feature where you can quickly add these items to your favorites tab and you don't have to worry about having to search for these items again, especially if you're selling a lot of the same items on a regular basis. And then the last option you'll see is remove from this view. This option will actually remove this item from your search. So if maybe the item's been discontinued or you don't actually sell the item, you can actually remove it from the view so you don't have to worry about it showing up in your search anymore. So let's just go ahead and add a couple other items to our document, but let's actually do it from the maybe the comparison window. So we're going to click on the workspace first though. And on the workspace, you'll see the 3 items that I added. And when you highlight the item, they'll work just like it would work on your search in the Eatalyze window. So you'll see the item, you'll be able to choose which vendor you want to source it from. So we'll go ahead and we'll source this one here. And you'll see that I'll add the item to the document. And then if we minimize that item, we can click on the next item here. And again, you can get your real-time pricing and availability. And maybe we want to source this one also from Tech Data. And we can do that as well. And then if we had any other items and we wanted to add them, we could. The comparison window should look very familiar. This is available in the Eatalyze QuoteWerks desktop as well. This is where you can check and basically compare pricing and availability across multiple items, and then also check their specs so you can see the difference between the items. So if you wanted to do like a good, better, best, or just see the differences in the items, you can easily do that. And then if you wanted to source or add items to this document, which we've already done, so I'm not going to re-add them, but if we hadn't added them, we wanted to choose one from one of these options, we could do that. And then the favorites, this is where you'll be able to save those existing documents. So if you have anything that you sell on a regular basis, or that you just want to sell, one time, but maybe other users in your organization are going to be selling this item on a regular basis, then you can load it from here and you can select the item and add it to the document as well. So a lot of new functionality in the Eatalyze integration, but really, really easy to use. So let's go ahead and go back to our product database option. So these will show us and display any items that we have in a particular database. In this case, I have my demo items here, and I can search for a particular item by description, part number, vendor, keyword, the typical search options in QuoteWerks. And once you've located an item, you simply need to select it. And when you highlight an item, if you hold Control, you can actually select multiple items at once. So if I want to select these multiple items, I can do that. And then you can easily add them to the document just by clicking on the Add Selected Products to the Current Document. And you'll receive that confirmation that they were added to the document. And then once those items have been added and you're done searching and looking for items to add, you can click back to your workbook, and that'll bring you back to your document items window here so we can start making adjustments. So now that we have all these items on the document, we can drag and drop them to reorganize them very easily. So for example, if I wanted to highlight one or multiple items, I can do that by holding Control or Shift. That'll highlight those items, and then I can easily drag and drop them, in this case, into the product section. If I want to do the same thing for services, maybe we want to select our extended service there and labor, and we'll do this monthly monitoring charge. We can easily move those 3 items, and even though they weren't contiguous items, I can still easily drag and drop them onto my services section, and we'll leave the last 3 items as optional. Just like in QuoteWerks Desktop, we can highlight multiple items. So if we did want to mark these items as optional, we can right click, choose Edit Line Attributes, and say yes, they are optional and they are selected, and then click OK. And that way the customer can choose whether or not they want to purchase those optional items. A couple new features in QuoteWerks Web include the ability to toggle the item description. So this description panel button here, when you click on it, will actually show you the entire item's description. And if you click on maybe one of the longer ones here, you can actually see this long description. So if I wanted to shorten it, or maybe I want to copy and paste it from somewhere else, I could do that. And when I make that change, I can easily click down to the next one and make the change to that one. So if I wanted to shorten this description, I could do that. So it makes it really easy with this description panel to kind of move through your items on the document, copy and paste descriptions, make adjustments without having to like double click in there and then tab out and then go to the next one and do it. You can simply copy and paste and then switch quickly as it goes through. You also see autosave will be automatically enabled for your items. So as you start making changes, it'll autosave those changes as you go through the document. In addition to the description panel, we also have the item panel. The item panel is a really cool feature because you can see each of the columns that are available in your QuoteWerks window here. By default, they're going to be alphabetically organized, but if you uncheck this option here, this will put them in the same order as you have on your document items window. So if you wanted to change, for instance, like the quantity, I could change that to 3 and then click out of here, and then that'll actually update that particular item as you make that change. If I wanted to then adjust the description, or maybe I wanted to change the price, I could do that. If you type in here, such as if I type unit price, I can actually filter for a specific or locate a specific column. So if you wanted to change a column very easily, maybe I just want to set the price to 180, I can do that. And then that'll actually update the unit price in real time for that particular item. So it gives you a lot of flexibility and a lot of functionality for being able to make quick changes on the items, maybe update multiple fields on an item while you're doing that. One of the other great features about QuoteWerks Web is the ability to toggle between different documents. So for example here, if I went to my open window and we could search for a document name, and let's just type in setup and search, and we'll just double click on one of these here and we'll open up that document. When you open up that document here in QuoteWerks Web, so I can quickly move between documents. So if I click on my previously open document, I can see my document here. So it makes it really easy to move back and forth between documents, copy and paste between documents, have a lot of options for doing that. So, okay, so everything looks good. We're ready to send this document to the customer. So obviously we want to click on the save option here. On the save, you'll see the save quote window will open, and it'll have our document number already assigned, our status, and then you'll see our MS CRM integration. So we're going to create that linked document, create the follow-up call, and create the opportunity in MS CRM, and we'll simply click OK. And then this will open up our create new MS CRM opportunity window. We'll have the option to link to an existing opportunity, or you can create a brand new one. Just know that if you do link to that opportunity, QuoteWerks is going to take ownership of that opportunity, and then this will be the name of the opportunity. So it's going to be our document name plus our document number, and then you can put in a description if you want to change any of the fields here, such as the close date or the probability and the rating. You can do that, and then once you've made those adjustments, we can click OK, and that will create that opportunity in MS CRM. And once that finishes, our create MS CRM call will open up, and you can see who it's scheduled for if you want to change that, the duration, priority, all that information, include any notes, and then you can hit OK. For example, I'm just going to go ahead and hit cancel. So now that our opportunity has been created, if we click over to MS CRM, we can see here's our opportunity in our opportunities window, and then if we click and open up that opportunity, you'll see the opportunity information. So everything will carry over just like as if you had created in QuoteWerks Desktop. So we'll see all the information, we'll see our history in there, our follow-up if it was in there, and then if we scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll also see the MS CRM quote, and that'll contain the line item information from the QuoteWerks document, so that that information gets written into MS CRM as well. So everything looks good, so let's go ahead and click back to QuoteWerks Web. So now that we've saved our document, we updated MS CRM with all the important sales information, we can now deliver this to the customer. So we're going to click on our deliver icon here. This will open up our deliver window, and you can choose your cover page that you'd like to include, choose your layout that you'd like to use. If you have any literature documentation that you'd like to include, such as like service agreements, terms and conditions, warranty information, any spec sheets for your items, and anything from the links tab, you can choose to include that as well. If you'd like to reorder these in any way, you can do that. So you can actually drag and drop these in the order that you'd like your document to appear, and then we can preview it before we actually send it to the customer. So if we click on the preview or the print/preview button here, this will actually open up our document in a PDF preview window so we can see what it's going to look like before we send it to the customer. Make sure everything looks okay. So good. We have our cover page, we have our document information, our line item information, and then our pricing breakdown, and then our support agreement that we included. So everything looks good. So we'll go ahead and close out of here, go back to QuoteWerks Web, And then now we're ready to send this document, so we're going to choose Upload to Quote Valet. And we'll go ahead and override the approval since we don't need that. We've already viewed the PDF, so if you forgot to preview it, you can view the PDF file here. That way you can just check to make sure the PDF looks good. Go ahead and we'll upload this to Quote Valet. And then once this finishes, we'll actually preview the document on Quote Valet just to make sure everything looks good. So you can see the document comes over just like if we had done it through QuoteWerks Desktop. Have our pricing breakdown, all our line items, and our payment options. So everything looks good there. And then we're ready to send it to the customer. So we can click on Send Email, and this will open up the email window. One of the really cool features about the email window here is that you can drag and drop files to attach. So if you need to include anything, you can. If you have any email templates that you've set up, you'll have access to those as well. If you want to modify who this document is being sent to, you can change that also. And then when you're ready, simply click Send, and that'll send out this document to the customer. So let's close out of here. So we'll pretend we are the customer. We'll go ahead and view this document. So we'll click on the link. So we got the email from the customer, clicked on the link and opened up our Quote Valet document. Customer goes through, maybe they make some adjustments to the document, so they'll uncheck a couple of these options here, click Update. That'll remove them from the document, and then they can choose which way they'd like to pay. So they're going to pay by credit card, and then they can agree to the terms and conditions, put any comments in if they have them, and then sign off on them. So we'll just sign off on this document, and then choose Click to Accept, which will accept our document. And then that'll notify the sales rep that the document has been accepted by the customer. And then on the customer side of things, they can click on Pay Now, and that would bring them to a payment screen if you are accepting payments through Quote Valet, so the customer can actually make payment through Quote Valet. If you're not accepting payments via Quote Valet, that's fine. You can still use Quote Valet for all the notifications when the customer views it, accepts it, all that information. If we go to our Quote Valet tab here, we'll actually see all the activity while we kind of review everything. So we can see that the customer viewed the quote for the first time, selected an option, accepted the quote, and then viewed the payment request. And then once the customer has accepted the quote, you'll see a new window will appear, and it'll ask you if you want to convert this quote to an order. So this is how we close a quote in QuoteWerks. And when we convert this quote to an order, it's a really important step because this is actually when we will update the MS CRM opportunity as won or closed. So by converting this quote to an order, you'll then see the next window here, and you'll get a close MS CRM opportunity window as won. We'll see the status is set as won, status reason won, the actual revenue. You can add in any description or update the description if you need to. You'll see the optional items that we had on the document that weren't selected have been removed from the document, so just what's on the actual order is there. And then we will click OK, and that'll actually go and update the opportunity in MS CRM as one, so it keeps everything in sync. So whatever's done in QuoteWerks will be updated in MS CRM. If we had to make a change to the document beforehand, you can always click Save, and that will also update the opportunity in MS CRM as well. So really ensures that everything will stay in sync as you are making changes to documents and how you're having customers move forward with them. Conversely, if the document hasn't been updated as one, if you convert it to lost, that will also update the opportunity in MS CRM as lost as well. So you'll have both functionality in the integration with MS CRM. So in summary, QuoteWerks Web includes the MS CRM integration, is only $10 per user per month, and you only need to add QuoteWerks Web licensing for the users that want access to QuoteWerks Web. Additionally, QuoteWerks Web uses your existing licensing features in your current subscription, so you won't have to repurchase or rebuy those just to use with QuoteWerks Web. For more information, or if you have any questions, please contact the sales team. Thanks for watching.